I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Final report, all business was out. Been working on the park lot and traffic direction. They got to finish. Landscaping, that kind of stuff, so we're not done with that. Got a meeting later on this week at 3 plus, 48. And then we did get approved the commissioners their last meeting. It was about like $910 worth of asbestos. Cleaned up and got a new. People really concluded that that was all. Asbestos we got to take out. And that's it. So I thought that was pretty great. So that's what we're on. Still good one. Anything else? Okay. Wheel excise tax, there's nothing really new to report on it. Balls haven't been, the task force haven't had anything that they've done to put down. Would have done back in August. Can't take effect in 2026 now. We put it in effect in 2027. Currently working on finishing my road inventory condition assessment. Driving the road, radar, and get all that over together. That way I can put more information together for you guys on what that would look like, increase wheel tax, what that would be for the county. I think also showed them what that would do to them. Because if we were to rate that, all cities and towns also you can put information together and stuff that you guys have specifically, definitely do it with me. You can put that stuff together and make a better report on with you guys. Any questions on what's going on with it? Any of those things since April? Yeah, thank you.
Morning. I'll give you guys a staffing update. We are fully staffed in deputies. We have 17 of 21 in corrections right now. 3 are in training. We have 2 that are in the hiring process, so we expect them to go up. We do go back 8-hour shifts. And 9 dispatchers. We're up to staff. We have part-time stepping up, full staff in community corrections. Our August month, excuse me, it's supposed to be October numbers. We had 119 average in the pension center and 36 in work for this. Is there any questions or concerns?
Julie, the Health Department, that's how discussion comes before everyone. I just wanted to do a little update on Saturday. This month is on for awareness. So Saturday we're partnershiping with the Beacon Hospital, and they're doing cancer screenings from 8 to 1 p.m. So we are doing that with promote like the people that have insurance, other insurance, and don't have that to get screened for prevention. For them, that's one of our full-time things that we do. And then Sunday, we're having a baby shower at the Princeton Fire Station from 1 to 3. And that also is funded with the HFI funding to help save sleep, car seat safety, making sure that mothers, new mothers, especially in a time that they need the resources.
I think you guys are quoting numbers, we collected 142,000 for 3 hours last month. We had 162 calls, of those 97. We are currently fully staffed, but when I'm on medical leave, any questions?
We were just reposting that, some of the things we had.
So I thought we get exactly what I want to talk first. We have to start. It's an input budgeting, right?
Yes.
If we move it to safety, that had money, we need money, there's public.
So we were gonna be able to maybe use that for me, if it's with the elevator stuff, but that's almost with that.
I knew it was a project, I just couldn't remember what
Yeah, it's the 2 elevators,
the other thing,
the courthouse and,
the art budget. Wasn't it? If we were able to, and we did it confirm, parking lot, I did. We confirmed that. Brandon, that was 100 times. We like them. We got, the money there. So they can. So, that's the request, take it out of that line. And then we get in, get that, so that we won't be able to get it. So the question was that.
I don't know, so we parking lot can be like. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So we had that was Bloomberg. I'll make about something to put it out. What we're expecting to call like 3, so ready to. I don't know that. Look for the second, and then we discuss. All those, aye. Opposed? Any other old business? If not, we move on to the solar project.
Good morning, council. My name is Kyle Terrace with Fences, representing the owner of solar policy petition before today with respect to the Francisco solar project. representative from RWE, the sponsor developer, DH Chen, who will lead this morning before you, the conversation. Before you, I just wanted to make some opening remarks and comments to you before I hand it over to DH. Council, an update with respect to the Francisco Solar Project, or formerly the Elwood Solar Project, and then I will close out our initial comments with just an explanation of the resolution that Jason just handed out. I appreciate your time and consideration this morning. We've had an opportunity to connect with many of you with respect to project updates, in particular, connection delays and the like. As you know, Elliott Solar and the county signed an economic development agreement in 2020 with respect to this project, and signed an amendment in 2022. Uniquely to this project, in both of those instances, the project was owned and operated by different companies. Originally, it was a Revon. Second, it was Renewables, and that's is RWE. DH can speak eloquently on that transition and really the experience level of RWE, but I want to say, as someone who represents the renewable projects across the state, my firm represents projects in over a third of the communities across the state. RWE is one of the best, if not here at the top of the best of developers. They have experience, they have projects across the state, actively developing wind and solar projects. So I'm really happy to represent them for you today, because I think over time, this project has really improved its footprint, it's improved its ability to construct, it's improved from a sponsor and developer perspective. We're before you today because the current economic development agreement has an outside construction date that expires at the end of the year. And we also have what's called an economic revitalization area. That was the former footprint of the project area. It's in fact too small to benefit as a whole as a footprint sits now. As RWE has come into the picture, bought the project, they have acquired additional land by lease to make sure that this project can actually be constructed at the size that it wants to be constructed at, 500 to 540 megawatts. And so before me today is a resolution I'll speak more about a little bit later, but we need to be before you today by state law requesting an expansion of the economic revitalization. This economic revitalization area is that area that allows for a to be considered by this council. The project currently has an abatement. That's a factor that it expires. Again, the project is not complete construction to become operational. We'll make the first step as required by law for the project activated with the council and the commission to talk about potential amendment to that development company. I certainly want to allow plenty of time for the advisors, Jason Spindler. Certainly want to take a pause and just thank him for his continued involvement. Baker Tilly, I'm a regular patient over to Jason and Baker Tilly, and they are great advocates for the town. And we really enjoy working with them. So I'm going to sit down for a moment, but DHP for a project overview, project update, just give you it's public forum, give you an update about some of the delays the project has realized, and now come out and come back up, close out a presentation with respect to the resolution that just is coming back. So thank you, gentlemen.
Good morning, Council. Thank you guys for taking the time to fill out file and present this morning. I've met some of you before, but for the benefit of the group, my name is DH Chen. I work for RWE. We're one of the developing Francisco Solar Project here in Gibson County. And I'm here to provide you with a little bit of the background of the project, timeline, and some updates. So quickly providing some background on RWE, we're the second largest solar company here in the U.S. with a track record of not only developing projects, but also constructing and then owning and operating the projects for their lifetime of development. We have a track record in Indiana with Wildcat Wind Farm here in Madison-Tipton County. We have a project in construction up in Collector County, a permitted project in LaPorte County, the closest solar project we have here
to Gibson County is AC Corp Solar in Jefferson County, Oregon. So, a little bit of the timeline, back in November last year, RWE acquired the solar project, Francisco Solar from R3 Renewables, who in turn took it over from Revon a couple of years ago. And this project is a 250 megawatt project. Approximately, will be able to power 42,000 homes and represents a minimum investment of $300 million into the county. And, as Kyle briefly talked about, the reason we're coming before you today is because the project is running into some delays on the interconnection fronts. Kind of group them into two main, sources of delay. And the first one will be project acquisition. So obviously, R3 took it over for Revon, and then we took it over from R3. And the Revon, when they had the project, had what they call an interconnection fee position. So any project that would need to connect to the grid would need to file an application with MISO, the Mid-Continent Independent System Operator. And it's a year-long, takes many years to work through that process. They put in that application in July 2015, but however, prior to handing out the project to R3, they had to withdraw that application. So R3 had to go in and put in a new application in September 2022. So what that does is it resets the clock, and again, we have to line up in that queue from the start, and that pushes the timeline back several years into late 2026. So that's the first reason, and the second reason is probably out of our control. That's to do with MISO's interconnection delays. All developers for power projects, are subject to the same delay. So that process looks, like 3 different phases. A project has to work through these phases, go through the necessary studies to be able to connect onto the grid. So for Francisco's application cycle, MISO delayed the phase 1 studies for over 2 years due to cascading delays in previous cycles. This was, again, further exacerbated by an exceptionally large amount of projects that were trying to apply, and it was the largest cycle in MISO's history. So, again, this pushes the project timeline kind of backwards, and, I think we provided in the past a project timeline summary, and, again, happy to answer any questions that you guys might have at the end of the presentation. But for now, I'm going to pass it on to Kyle, and I'll stick around for questions. Thank you.
Thank you, DH. Members of the council, if I can ask you to move to the last 3 pages of the last before the last page titled Exhibit A, Current ERA. This is a map. In fact, it is exactly a screenshot of the map affixed to the current economic development, and again, signed in 2020 and amended to it. When this project was originally proposed by Revon, this is the project footprint that required an abatement and received that abatement. If we navigate then to just the next page that's titled Exhibit B, you'll see a delineation between the 2020 economic revitalization with the parcels shown in red, and then those parcels shown in blue being the additional parcels that today we are asking for to just preliminarily consider as in the expanded economic revitalization area. Of course, you'll see an overlap in sort of a red, blue, purpley color here in the cross hatching. There are certainly many parcels that have an overlap. And then there are additional parcels just not through cross-hatch, largely moving north of Francisco there. For a visualization of just the 2025 economic revitalization area, the one that we're asking for to preliminarily consider today. We'll flip to just on the next page, the final page of the resolution labeled Exhibit C, which is the 2025 economic revitalization area. This is that current footprint that Elliott Solar LLC and I we have currently under lease or other land control to allow for the construction of the facility as improvements. The project, as DH said, has a minimum investment of $300 million. We anticipate an outside CAD or commercial operations date at the end of 2029. The project would generate 1 to 3 full-time equivalent jobs with salary ranging from $40,000 to $100,000. Oftentimes when projects like this, and for this presentation before with respect to reclamation solar earlier this year, if there are similarly situated, geographically located projects, you might see a scenario where it might be 2 part-time employees that equal 1 full-time employee, and then 3 part-time employees that equal 1.5 full-time employees. But regardless, these will be new generated jobs. You have 1 to 3 range salaries, as I said, $40,000 to $100,000. Ultimately, then, before you today, the reason why we stand here asking for consideration of this resolution is because state statute speaks to when you have to establish or expand an economic revitalization area, as I said on these maps. We need to first come before you at that public meeting, you need to approve a preliminary resolution, the resolution that's proposed today, which then starts us down the next process, scheduling the second meeting. Again, that second meeting required by state statute. That second meeting will be a public hearing, will be noticed in the newspaper. All the local taxi units, schools, libraries, local township trustees will receive notice of that. We will come before you today. Our ask of that public meeting and public hearing will be at a December meeting, so that has an opportunity for the public to speak. But ultimately, that second meeting with the public hearing, second resolution, will not be considered until this preliminary step is taken. Ultimately, you're taking the step to allow us to move to that public hearing, allowing us for you to consider whether or not you actually want to, it's called confirm or establish that expanded economic revitalization. So thank you for the time this morning. Happy for DHI to answer any questions on the order that we had multiple conversations based on this topic, so we can certainly advise you from the legal counsel perspective. Thank you.
All right, that's a good question.
Yes, sir.
You say the public hearing will be on our December meeting. Is another way to have that public meeting with landowners and things in between there, so because at 9 o'clock in the morning, you're not gonna get a whole lot of people that's able to come to these meetings, so I would like to have a meeting in between there, some sort of public forum, where it could be held in the evening somewhere where we actually get people that are working to come and get their input.
Developer agrees, and I'm sure they will. You can have that, it's a non-mandatory meeting, and while I'm guessing you're wanting to notify the adjacent property owners and give them specifically an opportunity to be heard at a meeting that is scheduled for a time more accommodating to their students.
Correct.
That's something you guys can pull off before the December meeting.
Yes, so ultimately, we have time constraints with respect to this time of year. The council, in its discretion, sets the meeting. Ultimately, we would like to have input this set to confirm availability. And obviously, there's a Thanksgiving holiday, holiday season quickly approaching. One of the reasons why we're asking for this step to be taken by the council today is so that we can really commence in earnest those negotiations with respect to increasing the economic development of the independence of the project of the 2020 agreement that probably has to pay only about $1 million. That project was approved 4 or 5 years ago at this point. That's not to the current market. So the project has made a more aggressive economic offer.
Haven't had it all a little expired
No, sir, that's still on the table. It's actually,
till the end of the year.
I'll infer your question, meaning that the economic development has a construction timeline that does expire at the end of the year. It remains in the council discretion whether or not to extend that ability. But as far as increasing the economic development payments that the project would make, that offer still stands. And offer that after the scope that they told about on Friday afternoon, their analysis internally has been on track and perhaps shared with Jason. And so we want to use the time between now, whatever the public hearing date, set date or time to your point is to make sure that the council as well as the convention could agree if you so choose on extended abatement as well as increased on development.
I just didn't want to get into a big rush about pushing this through. I'd like to have time to get Baker Tilly information and present that to the people of the county before we have to actually sign up or agree to.
Yes, so the state law requires the council to consider a variety of factors. Those factors are outlined in the resolution. It speaks to, it's on the second page, in fact, the total amount of investment, the number of full-time equivalent jobs, the average wage of new employees, and the infrastructure requirements of owners' investment in profit. Those are the standards by which the council will ultimately approve the economic revitalization area. Those items have been shared with you before today in various formats, well, form, certainly highlighting that you ultimately determine in your discussion that an abatement requires other input or other factors to be considered. We certainly want to participate in that conversation. But the reason why we're here today is because state law requires us to take that first step. And so again, I would ask respectfully that the council allow us to take that next step with the resolution before we still recognizing that there's still work to be done, still negotiation, there's still commissioner input that is required, as the commissioners are also part of that.
Well, in this proposal to put in this today, and does it have to be the December meeting? Can it be postponed until we have a chance? We're unable to get the meeting with the other citizens to give them a chance to voice their opinion, that we can postpone it to a later date. As a meeting.
Yes, the project timeline from a financing perspective has a significant barrier that it needs to make a significant financial payment in early 2026. That ultimately will dictate whether or not the project has the benefit of a date. So the decision, the request for consideration on the 12th day, December, was only based off of your, might have been 7th, that you had there. It was only in consideration of your current schedule, but ultimately determining that the public is suited elsewhere. We do want to consider this, advise you today or outside of this, ultimately public input with respect to citing, development standards, other thresholds are really outside the scope of what an improvement would consider. But I recognize that you are a constituent, you have constituents that you could answer to and see it church and coffee shops, and I work on a day-to-day basis. So I want to recognize that those decisions have to be influenced elsewhere. But I want to recognize that there's a sort of a narrow scope of asking for in the bill. As I said, and I'll just reiterate it, that ultimately the council does not want to have this on early December morning meeting. Other meeting will be condensed if you will, and set that. Right. Thank you. I'm sure we discussed that. I missed the face of them. Councilmember, did I answer all the questions? Well, maybe not all of them, but the ones you've written down.
Yes, I have a lot of questions about your proposal, and I tried to read through this yesterday after I got it, and there's a whole lot of different Indiana codes. It would be a lot easier for someone not a lawyer to instead of putting the codes, if you explain more what each of those codes would say, what they applied to.
Sure, so
I would like to see actual monetary values on there that would show what the amount of abatement, I know what the abatement is requesting are, but the amount of actual taxes you have to pay, and then the new laws that are coming into effect, how that's going to change the value that it's all immediately Mr. Finley office or real estate taxes and things like that are gonna be going up. We won't get those until December 1st to know what those are. According to Julie Lydell at the state office. So without all that information, and without the basic proof, I don't suppose I can decide anything.
Yeah, well, the nice thing about this resolution, what state law affords, is this is actually a preliminary decision. If this resolution is approved, today, and ultimately the council does not approve the final resolution, whether that be a regular scheduled hearing or a later or earlier date, there is no impact on the taxpayer, we can impact on the county, we can impact on the council. We just a preliminary, preliminary resolution, so that then we can make the public notices, we make the taxing districts. I spoke with Mick Tilly, that Friday. They were not asked to be at this council meeting. I think it would have been premature for that, given that both council commissioners haven't had an opportunity to look at their report. They will be present, always I would was the intention that they be at the public hearing. I will remind the council with respect to the same process that was considered for the last recommendation. So we have a preliminary meeting and then a public hearing. Same, relatively the same resolution. I would note, and Mr. Spindler has raised this to you. We remove mention of the specific abatement schedule or the duration, whether that be 1 to 5 years more, and the abatement amounts from this resolution, because we want to, and in respect to you not knowing whether or not that abatement schedule is approved or not, we didn't want you signing a document that had that 5-year schedule or 100% schedule. That would be considered and would be outlined in a final resolution that the council so considered. So I wanted to take that out to the resolution. It's not required. That's no problem. Put it right.
I'd like to go ahead and make the motion. Go ahead. Hear your thoughts. That we'll have a public meeting. I would like to have we can have a public meeting outside of the 9 o'clock in the morning time frame before we have any final decisions made. And that's possible.
No, it isn't. I would,
That would be something we do that like out. We're not free. We're open to the public.
I'd like to think that this is the open that public.
Your motion.
It's group today.
I would just want to state for the record again, from a timing component, then we tried to be very transparent about this communication. An approval, if the council has an appetite for another resolution, and it's be December is very critical for property time. So if the council elects to have a public hearing and public a different date than December 16th, we like in the evening, obviously, in the project, and I would expect to ask that the council vote at that meeting as well, or consider setting on subsequent meeting for 23rd, so that people could consider final resolution. This is happening. I would say this happens regularly, where there's a special meeting held where maybe you didn't want to bog down the normal calendar, the normal agenda. Many agenda items on our calendar. But just something
that prior to people still not voting for the
yeah, so we just want to make sure from a coordination perspective, we have enough time to get the notice in the newspaper and then the notice to the taxi units. Of course, Thanksgiving holiday answer a few of the business that's on. But yes.
So
We believe in that.
the whole vote. The whole system. Exactly. So we're gonna work on what if that possible.
I'm gonna make it back to this man. Quite sometimes, we really use the deal. What the whole deal is, how many acres is involved and how much the tax, how much tax is in that. And then I know how many acres is tax. But I do know, we don't need to be paid. And also, the Senate Bill 1, the thing we, I hope that be better than. And, or my tax. Don't pay my tax, the drop, you know, I have a minimum tax rate. And how many, how big a tax abatement you take, 500, so, how many what? Other people, you know, people in the place. How do you that?
And all that information is what you're gonna get at this meeting after we get the data to it and all that, right?
Yeah, so the offer's been shared with county council, so that will respond to any of the points that, gentleman, asked here. It would be appropriate that the, public hearing as well as, any subsequent vote that we share, duration of abatement, amount of abatement, total investment, reiterate total investment, total $88, et cetera. In light of Senate Bill Act 1, and I've spoken with many of you about this, we are creating a mechanism that this county will be able to unlock new dollars that ultimately would not get spent for economic development purposes if this economic development did not exist. So happy to speak on that today, but I think from my conversation with you, it probably be a better opportunity to do that unfortunately.
All in favor, say aye.
Thank you for your time.
I'm here requesting an additional $45,000 appropriation for our brother removal. Last, since it was done, almost 2 years now. We've had a couple of tornadoes and one where we received a lot of brush and the prices are going up and the number of people doing it has gone down. So our lowest bid was $92,000. And I'd like to get additional appropriation $35,000 to make sure we cover the brush control. Any questions? I'm sorry.
What fund did you come out of?
It's well, it come out of our net. Little over 2 million, like 2,100,000. Yeah, there's plenty of water in the pool.
Who do you appropriate money you don't have?
Who's the lowest city that you got? There's guys like, back to jobs already been done. I was gonna take it out of my budget, squeeze around, but I felt it was probably better to go ahead and not put myself into a bind at the end of the year. In case something comes up. $45,000.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'm just here to get the approval on the clear payments, for my property, currently have, Toyota and ATC. This is the, they are in compliance. Yeah. they're in compliance.
you decide who to the compliant, how do they decide?
They have to have paperwork filed by a certain time.
They got all that.
Yeah.
Hey.
One of the-
I'll vote for it.
That's it.
So I'm here to request one for seven thousand.
I like it, I like it.
So you guys have already given us 500,000, that we really need to get a second. The first unit that we found, normally it takes a couple of years to get that order, they have to do a process to make that. This year, they did, that's totally, that's. They have two trucks that are done. One of them is, $409,88. They purchased that at $500,000, that was really good. They have another one, that they would sell us for $98,697. I think if we could get two trucks this year, we could, I know, put that on the good condition unit. That would put us with, four decent top-line units, a couple of backup units. We have $90,010 that they have $100,000. That's the thing that this, they will be investing in this, $8,685,000. They'll take this, the second week.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not. It's good. Well, we're playing with 500,000. And conversations, they heard a lot of things about the thing. It's one way for it.
Well, it's about $12,000 that we're making, and then we have the 90,000 left over from 500,000.
So we don't have any.
No, we're not normally ready for it, so if we don't get one now, we'll have to wait.
We'll just say those.
Yes.
Exactly. Five. Then, they're advertising.
So 308,685.
Oh, thank you, Dan. Aye. Okay. Hope you guys. What is that? No, the 500,000. We're increasing on that part for you, so when we do budget, budget. Okay, so you either you're going to.
The first question for you is for the first pay of 2026. I'm requesting that we pay that at the entirety of 2026 rate. So that it is programmed for 2025-26. We did that last year. Who's asking for or requesting that we this year? First, we did that way. Okay. Rich, vote on that?
Yes, I'll make a motion to approve it. All in favor, say aye. All in favor, say aye.
And then I just wanna confirm, we're doing longevity pay this year. Same as last year, $50 per year with a cap of 30 years. And I will do that on December 19th, we may have two December 30th, if that's okay with that. If you go on that night.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. You did it all. All three?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there will be 3 paid in December, right?
Cool. All right. I can take you minutes. That's a good Marcy people exception. What's this? Everything. Oh, this is right, yeah. So start with our account. I'm sorry, that is. I didn't, I have no idea what it was.
What do you, continue to disturb even with general health?
We've already done this one, it's always been divided out. Now we're all saying for, we have to divide out for them. So. It's all, it's all health, it's all whatever we want, or the way it was where. It's divided now, by a big ready, by a big or what they. That's what we already do, that's how it's all always been set up. Got alcohol, medicine. But now, about 70 something. Put it all in general, very. When people come back and they want their out, some part. They advertise on it. Yeah. Yeah, that's why we're gonna be. I make a motion to leave the way. All fair to say aye. All right, here's first. Transfer council approval information fund. $29,500. $560. Public defender, half a year, 12,000, part-time, $4,005. By secretary, $2,005. Weight and measure. Second form to office supply in the amount of $100 for the court, equipment, repairs, maintenance. Into equipment for $5,000. For the public defender, from file 31, 31, 12, 102, all good, all right. And we'll go with that, from 11 division to part-time, the part-time rate is $9,000. And the direction project is now, this is the part-time, we're concerned, secretary, $1,565. Moving to the still office. From the rest of the overtime, $2,000, office, $70,000. From getting attention to field officer, $2,000. $2,008. From the insurance and the field office, $3,008. Part-time, $5,090. From the insurance and the secretary, $7,163. From the state managers, $6,022.30. Officer, $8,060. We're in most please vote transfer from level one to.
A lot of these big, all the wineries have. Chicago kind of already, you know, that I'm not good at. I think, and so now with, even great. Basically, I don't think any, I think he's saying, whatever. Because, well, that right. Well, the third change is the exit. But year before, the, it was already 25,000 back. So it was 2,000. He reviewed the real estate was set up for people. Great, everybody, I would expect that. So we're trying to build up and, you know, from 7, you know, we may be more than 7, that happens, waiting for the year whole Sunday. So we try to build up our house. So that's the only thing that we need.
Are you gonna keep that, for next year too then, for you now, you gonna be distributed into other places?
All right, now, we really get it. That's the trouble. You can mark it again. Everyone back over the process, being, communicating, the time to get an essay, or don't.
All right. Health, university, you got $2,000. Supplemental public figure, 2,000, 8,000, so $2,220. University, we'll find the fight that there, $1,000. We'll find the $3,000. Overtime is fully offset, just for all. Overtime, you can do the $7,027 on 3 cents, overtime per person, $1 for 3 cents, workers' comp, all of this. Workers' comp in the office is $1,012. Overtime, you divide the benefit there, $3,100, overtime, you still offset $5,000. Overtime, you still offset $5,000. Overtime, you get $40 for $1,000. Overtime, you need first $4,000. You part why we go off. Okay, okay. On the right. All right. All right. Everybody first.
$1,000, postage, $38,500 net, now, $100, courthouse today, $1,000. Health and 414 by that $7,000, we know, for the foundation. $2,000, so LATCF, sidewalk needs to, the total of this month.
Second.
What the economy. Yeah. All right, we'll go to the second. All in favor, yeah.
Aye.
So, period, so it won't be our guidance and for, keep on that. First, $1,000. Why, $4,000. Other $13,000, $80,000. Sorry, that first one, the first one is first. For 80,000 takes care of it, and then for the fund, $200,000, stormwater management operations, $200,000 for something for tender, $53,500, that's fine. 28,000 for both the opioid, especially economy, 1237, $206,000 for opioid and $53,990. $12,500 for the outlays for the cost to either deferral to somebody who and $6,730 for construction, $40,000 in other utility charges in the county directing account for each county directing for the $31,600. Those charges to their fund, 45,000 for supply, 55,000 for services, charges. The ultimate authority running 405. All the intelligence for the approval. So on, I think let's do the But first, the, that's where it has folks, so you, they will have the info. So at 8 a.m. on the first, next to okay. When is in the commissioners meeting on the second? Oh, that's, three of us, we don't need to go now. And, you know, so. And that's in the morning? First, and that'll be at 8 o'clock. I was here that for six. We're looking at 5. I like.
My question, I don't know. It started at 5. I need 40 on Monday. The 15th with an opioid committee, 4 o'clock that day, so after that. On the 15th. Within that, so that day, we get to visit.
You have to be on Monday.
My birthday. That's why I said I'm not worried, but. Okay, that worked out for. That Monday is. One big stuff.
December 2nd is Tuesday.
Oh. Okay. Monday, first week. That's what you get. Monday, 4:30. Or that one. For Monday, the first, 4:30. Yeah. I was actually gonna say, you're talking about getting retired, what do you? Yeah. Well, okay. We'll get those. And I would still like to hold the vote on the 15th. I give a fee, I'll do it, phone call, we don't say, man. No vote. Vote to adjourn.
Last one.
No, I know.